So you know it's quite important that we do this video, don't you? You know, we could there's ways and means that we can work around it. So we're gonna get we'll be alright. Do you agree? Okay, so it would seem that you don't really agree, but I think what about if I just call him Gary? Do you think I'll get away with just calling him Gary? I'm gonna do that. So look, there's this guy, and his name is Gary, and Gary, with a load of other people, jump in a van because apparently there's a house for sale, and people have transferred their jobs and everything, and they're coming to move to this house. When they arrive to Rogersville, where the house sadly isn't ready. It's no longer able to be moved in. So, what they do, because apparently hotel rooms are too expensive and there's no hotels anywhere in the area, around the area, or anything, they decide that the best thing to do is to drive back to where they come from. Now, this isn't like an hour's drive, this is like a 15-hour drive, but that is the best plan. Now, I don't know whether these people are high, but hold on, they can't be high because Gary has told them that they're not allowed to have any drugs of any kind in the van. And even though Gary, he doesn't like conflict, he doesn't like falling out with people, but he can definitely tell people they're not allowed to smoke drugs in the van, and they listen. So there's no drugs, okay? So they're not high, it's just that there wasn't any hotel rooms within less than a 15-hour vicinity that would have been affordable. And we're going to go with that. But look, Gary, he stays. He stays and he meets this family who we've come to know and love as the Wells Bly family. And he goes and stays with them. He goes and stays at their house. And look, it would appear that Gary has some problems. He's unstable. It's potentially that he spends some time in some rehab clinic or some clean-up clinic of some description just before the trip. So look, he goes to stay with them, and he goes and sleeps in the children's bedroom stroke playroom, bedroom stroke playroom stroke room with toys and stuff in it, and he sleeps in there. Okay, bear with me. Now, Gary, he's a lovely guy. He's very lovely, and look, he's the sort of person who'd have around your house to babysit. We know that because he's subsequently been on the YouTube, and he's been talking brilliantly about things that everybody wants to hear about. And I'll tell you what, he remembers everything. He remembers everything about Summer's little towel that she uses, everything, the colour, the design, everything, and he can go into such detail. He even had a nickname for her, Half Pint. Don't know whether he had any nicknames or anything for the boys, but definitely the little 5-year-old girl Summer, he had a nickname for her and knew about a towel. Didn't like conflict, remember that. Gary is not a guy who likes conflict, but he'd already, like I said, he bossed them about saying no drugs, don't want them around here, doesn't want no drugs. And he also didn't want this little girl Summer's dad to be sharing with her either. And he told him, he grabbed her and said, "Get out. You're not having that. We're not having that sort of funny business around here." And told the dad, who we've come to know and love as Don, that he shouldn't be doing it. He won't be having it. But he doesn't like conflict, Gary. He's not a conflictual man. But it would have seemed that he'd had a few little words with Don, a few little altercations, put him in his place. If I have to be the sword that pierces that man's heart, that's what I'm going to be. And if you knock me down, I'm going to get up again. I'm going to keep coming. I'm going to keep coming at you. Because that's the kind of guy he is. Well, I'm not sure if that's the kind of guy he is. I don't know whether he likes conflict, he don't like conflict, I don't know. But something just don't sit right. This trip with a house that fell through. Something don't seem right. Don't seem like it happened that way. I'm not sure. What was the real purpose of this trip that Gary and his friends come down on? I don't know. But something don't feel right. Doesn't feel right. And we're not allowed to say anything bad about Gary. We're not allowed to say it. We're not allowed to question why he can give such a detailed sort of rundown of Summer and what she was like, what she wore, what she didn't wear, where she showered, and all these things, and that she run out and play, and the times they spent together, and the glorious times of pushing her on the swing, and higher, and all of those. But if you ask him when he went there, can't remember. How long were you there? Can't remember. 6 months? No, actually 6 weeks. But time does run slower in the country. Now, I live in the country, so time does run slower here. This video, as you'll know, has been running for 3 hours. Or is it 3 minutes? I don't know, because I'm in the country and time runs slower. You tell me. So 6 months, 6 weeks, I don't know. Easy mistake to make. I sometimes go to work and feel that I've been there for 6 days and there's only 6 hours. So Gary, the confusion, I see it. But what month was you there? Was it summer? Was it winter? Sometimes it's so hot, you remember how hot it was. Sometimes it's so cold. So very cold. Look, all we're trying to do is get to the bottom of this story. To find out what happened. To find out why a family that seemed to be involved in drugs and bad things, their little girl paid the price, came a cropper, and it just happens that all the adults that surround them have got something weird about them, including Gary. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think down below of Gary. Do you fully trust that they came down to buy a house that weren't available? They'd transferred the jobs and everything. Came down, 15-hour drive, everything in the van, their whole lives. Weren't allowed drugs, remember, Gary said. Put all of the stuff in a container and realised there wasn't a room within any kind of vicinity that they made it cheaper than driving the U-Haul van back all the way to New York. Does that sound right? And why would this man, remember, he's got struggles. He's had struggles. Don't want to be around that sort of stuff. Didn't want drugs in the van. Didn't want it. Goes to a house, there's clearly signs of problems. He was happy to stay there. Maybe he was just a typical man who saw a beautiful lady, not mention any names, Ali, and he just thought, time's to stay, I can stay and teach everyone a few things, because I'm a good man. I'm a good man. I've been told to come away from my own kids by a specialist, because that's the thing to do, and move in with some kids that ain't even mine, because that's what you do. At times of trouble, move away from your own kids and move in with other kids that are not yours, because that's the best thing to do to get through problems. I'll tell you what, I could go on for hours about Gary and his really difficult life and hard times and things I can make sense of and the things I can't. But it's time to go now, and you guys will just have to think about what you think about Gary and Gary's incredibly difficult story. Take care.